Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I come here with a very heavy heart because I think of, and I think we've got those of us who are parliamentarians, whether here or in the United States or in the various European parliaments, have got to feel some responsibility for what has happened. Insofar, not that we haven't raised the issue with our governments again and again and again, but insofar as we have allowed what Tahar has very clearly illustrated, we have allowed the manipulation of governmental bodies to downplay the truth of what we have tried to communicate to our government, to our Department of Foreign Affairs. I, just last night, looked at questions, just questions that I had asked over the last year or so. I have 9 A4 sheets. In parliamentary time, it's fairly hard to, it's really quite hard to get in. So you'll understand that 9 pages over the last year, on my own initiation, plus all the efforts that have been made by Lord Clark, Lord Avebury, and many others. I won't try to, Baroness Turner, and I won't try to name them all. But we have made an effort only to be sort of almost told, calm down, dear. Yes. It's not really as bad as that. Well, this time I actually was surprised. I've been involved with the Foreign Office every single day. I've been talking to the Foreign Office every single day since this horrific incident occurred. And I've got to say that at last, somebody's listening. At last, somebody's listening. They know. But that's this week's news. Next week, they may not be listening unless we, and I'm talking now, you and I, ladies and gentlemen, unless we organise ourselves. Let me pick up, I think, where Tahar was taking us, and that is to ask the question, is the United Nations, are the United Nations competent to do the job that is required from them and by them in Ashraf and Liberty? The answer is no. Let's start with those poor ladies and the gentlemen who have been kidnapped and who will be extra. Iraq knows that we know they're lying, but they'll maintain that lie by saying, no, we don't know who these people are, we don't have them, and the next thing will be in the hands of the mullahs. Try to save the lives of the 8 hostages. That is our primary task. Our next task is, and we know the limitations of UNAMI, but they're there. And we've got to somehow insist that they are established in the camp for troops there, detached from Nouri al-Maliki's office, in Camp Liberty, ensuring that UNAMI have the freedom. Nothing will embarrass the Iraqi government unless we can prevail on our government and the American government to prevail on the United Nations who've been tardy in everything they've done, to ensure that we have people on the ground. If the Iraqi government wants to prove anything, in retrospect, they have got to facilitate these demands. And we mustn't let those who have given their lives, those who have been leaders, including Mrs. Rajavi, those who have spelt out the way forward in terms of Iranian resistance in totally democratic terms. Never forget that. This organisation has spelt out in absolute democratic terms. Each and every one of you, join me. Keep up the pressure. It's from reasoned argument, from consistent pressure, that we would hope to make headway. You know what we need? We need blueberries. First of all, we need to have rescued our 7 hostages. So there it is. We have failed them. We must start winning a just battle for those who remain. God bless you.
The last few days, we've seen many atrocities happening in Camp Ashraf. While much of the international community's focus has been on Syria, the Iranian regime has taken the opportunistic and indeed cynical attempt to commit atrocities in Camp Ashraf. On the 1st of September, 52 people who are under the protection under the Geneva Convention were assaulted, handcuffed and murdered by being shot through the head. This is unacceptable. This is something that I've spoken to the government of the UK about, to our Middle East Minister. I've also raised the matter directly with the Prime Minister and have written to him, asking him to support our calls to have UN troops in the camps protecting those people in camp. We cannot allow countries such as Iraq and Iran to continue in this fashion, particularly as they are using Syria as a smokescreen. While people are looking towards Syria, they are committing atrocities and killing our brothers and sisters, and we cannot allow that to happen. We must continue to push, and the UN, to provide the protection that these people not only deserve, but have a legal right under the Geneva Convention. And we must do it soon. This is not the first attack. This is one of many attacks, and I am unprepared to allow it to continue. On behalf of the UK government, and indeed on behalf of the international community, we must take action now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. But I wanted to take this opportunity to add my voice to the condemnation of the atrocity which we've witnessed in Camp Ashraf. No sane, civilised person could tolerate the pictures we've seen of defenceless, innocent people being machine-gunned by armed killers, even as they're lying in hospital beds. The United Nations has a duty to protect these people. It's not fulfilling that duty, and what they need to do now is make it clear that the killers who were armed and had their orders from Khamenei and Malachi, they will be hunted down and they will be brought to justice. So what I say today is simple. The United Nations have 3 very clear tasks on which they need to engage. The first one is the UN should lead the efforts to have the hostages released. We need to have these people back. We need to know they're safe and sound. The UN has failed them once. They mustn't fail them again. Secondly, the UN must sponsor an internationally supervised investigation into these atrocities so that those responsible can be brought to justice. They must form a blue-helmeted force and use that force to protect the people at Ashraf and Liberty. Nothing else will do, and the world can no longer stand aside and allow these atrocities to continue.